Hey there, and welcome back. Ready to go deep on some seriously mind-blowing science.
Always.
We're talking cutting-edge physics, but with a twist.
Yeah.
We're going to see how it connects with ancient wisdom.
Love it.
We've got some really cool material to work with today, including Dr. Manjir Samanta-Laughton's book, Punk Science.
Oh, that's a good one.
And get this, we're diving into a revolutionary theory called the black hole principle.
All right.
So, black hole principle.
It really flips the script on how we normally think about black holes. The usual idea is that they're these massive destroyers just sucking everything in.
Like cosmic vacuum cleaners.
Exactly. But this principle it suggests they're not just destroyers, they're actually creators.
Wow.
And this whole creative principle, it's not just happening in these giant black holes in space.
Also, it's not just about, distant galaxies.
No. This is happening everywhere. From the tiniest atoms to those massive galaxies, even within us.
Okay, so black holes are like the ultimate cosmic recyclers.
Yeah, you could think of it that way.
But hold on, how does this connect to things like psychic abilities or chakras? Those are pretty far out there.
I know, right? It's a big leap, but that's what makes the black hole principle so fascinating.
Yeah.
But before we get to all that,
Yeah.
let's take a step back and understand why we even need this new theory in the first place.
Right, back to basics.
Traditional science, it's amazing. It's given us so much.
Of course.
But it sometimes hits a wall when it comes to explaining certain things.
Like what?
Well, take the origin of life, for example.
Okay.
Traditional biology, it has a really hard time explaining how life actually arose from non-life.
Yeah, it's a pretty big question.
One of the biggest puzzles is this thing called the RNA or proteins first paradox.
RNA or proteins first?
They're both absolutely crucial for life, but each one needs the other to exist. It's
Right.
like a chicken and egg situation,
Yeah. So
And just saying, oh, it was random mutations over millions of years doesn't really cut it.
it just doesn't explain the complexity of it all.
Exactly.
Okay, so the old way of looking at things, it leaves us with some pretty big gaps, some unanswered questions.
Absolutely.
And that's where quantum physics comes in, right? Always shaking things up.
Always.
How does quantum physics change the game?
Well, one of the biggest things is this idea. Quantum physics challenges the idea that reality is objective and totally separate from the observer.
So you're saying our consciousness, our awareness is somehow involved?
Yeah, there are these concepts in quantum physics like superposition.
Superposition.
It basically suggests that consciousness is intertwined with reality itself.
All right, now you're going to have to break that down for me.
Okay, imagine flipping a coin.
Okay.
While it's spinning in the air, it has the potential to land on heads or tails, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like superposition. It's a state where multiple possibilities are existing at the same time.
Okay.
But the moment you observe it, the moment it lands, it collapses into one state, either heads or tails.
So you're saying my observation, my awareness, actually influences the physical world around me.
It's a wild idea, right?
That's a big one.
It suggests that consciousness isn't just some byproduct of the brain, but might actually be a fundamental part of the universe itself.
Whoa.
In fact, there are physicists like Amit Goswami
Okay.
who propose that consciousness might even be primary.
Meaning?
It's not a result of physical processes, it's actually the source.
Okay, so we're not just talking about some scientific theory here.
No.
We're talking about a complete shift in how we understand our place in the universe.
Exactly.
This is huge. Okay, so quantum physics tells us that reality might be more fluid and interconnected than we thought.
Yeah.
But what about non-locality? That's another one that always trips me up.
It's a mind bender for sure.
How does that fit into all of this?
Well, non-locality is basically the idea that information can be exchanged instantly regardless of distance.
So like faster than the speed of light?
It's not even about speed. It's as if these two particles, even billions of light years apart, they're connected in a way that goes beyond our normal ideas of space and time.
Okay, that's tough to wrap my head around. Any way to visualize that?
There's this great analogy by David Bohm.
Okay.
He talks about this implicate and explicate order.
Implicate and explicate.
Imagine a drop of ink falling into a bowl of glycerin.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
As you turn the handle, the ink seems to disappear. It folds into the glycerin. This is the implicate order, like a hidden level of reality.
Okay.
Now, if you turn the handle in reverse, the ink drop reappears.
It unfolds back into the world.
Exactly, becomes explicate back into our visible world.
So the ink drop is like information, and the glycerin is like the underlying fabric of reality where everything is connected.
You got it.
But what does this have to do with black holes?
That's where we'll pick up in the next part of our deep dive. So we were just talking about that ink drop disappearing and reappearing in the glycerin.
Yeah, such a cool visual.
It really shows how information can be hidden within a deeper level of reality and then,
Yep.
merge back into our everyday world.
That's like a cosmic magic trick.
Yeah.
But how does this all connect to black holes and this whole black hole principle?
Well, think about what a black hole actually is.
Okay.
It's this region of space-time where gravity is so strong that absolutely nothing, not even light,
Yeah.
can escape.
It's like a cosmic sinkhole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything just disappears.
Right. But earlier you said the black hole principle suggests that they're not just destroyers, you said they're creators too. How does that work?
According to the black hole principle, black holes aren't just endpoints, they're also starting points.
Okay.
Imagine this constant cycle, of creation and destruction,
Okay.
where matter and energy, they flow into a black hole, they seem to disappear,
Right.
but then they reemerge, transformed back into the universe.
So it's like what goes in must come out,
Yeah, just in a different form.
like a cosmic recycling plant.
Exactly. And this process, it's not limited to just those giant black holes out in space.
Right.
Remember, the black hole principle, it operates at all scales.
All scales?
From the entire universe
Yeah.
down to the tiny, tiny particles that make up atoms.
So you're saying that even within me right now,
Yeah,
there are tiny black holes constantly creating and destroying things.
that's the idea.
Wow.
And this constant exchange of information, this interconnectedness,
Right.
this is where non-locality comes in.
Okay, so it all ties together.
Just like that ink drop reappearing from the glycerin,
Right.
information can seemingly travel instantaneously across vast distances, connecting everything in the universe.
Okay, that's when things get really mind-blowing.
It is.
So if this principle applies to everything, how does it explain those phenomena that traditional science has a hard time with, like, say, near-death experiences?
NDEs, they're a great example of how the black hole principle can offer new insights.
Okay.
People who've had NDEs, they often describe leaving their bodies, seeing a bright light, feeling a sense of peace and overwhelming love.
It's pretty common in those stories.
In traditional science, it often dismisses these experiences as just hallucinations.
Yeah, or like oxygen deprivation or something.
But the people who've had them, they insist that they're more real than everyday life.
It's not just some dream.
Exactly. And that's where the black hole principle offers a different perspective.
Okay.
If we think of consciousness as not being confined to just the physical body,
Okay.
but as this fundamental aspect of the universe,
Right.
then maybe NDEs are glimpses into a realm beyond our typical perception.
So it's like,
It's like our consciousness is temporarily detaching from the physical body,
Yeah.
tuning into this broader field of information and energy.
temporarily unplugging from the physical world and plugging into a cosmic Wi-Fi.
That's a great way to put it.
That's cool. But what about things like mediumship? Talking to the dead.
If we embrace this idea of non-local consciousness and the black hole principle, mediumship becomes a lot less mysterious.
Really?
Remember the quantum vacuum we talked about?
Mm-hmm.
That sea of potential and information that permeates the entire universe?
Right, it's like the cosmic hard drive.
Exactly. And maybe some individuals, like mediums,
There?
they're more sensitive to these subtle signals from this vast reservoir of information.
Okay.
They might be able to access information that goes beyond the physical limitations of life and death.
So instead of spirits literally hanging around, it's more like accessing this cosmic archive of experiences and personalities.
This is one way to think about it.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But what about mental illness?
Mental illness.
How does the black hole principle apply to that?
Now, this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The black hole principle suggests that consciousness has a certain frequency, a vibration,
Okay.
like, sound waves.
Yeah.
When the frequency shifts, the experience changes.
So you're saying that mental illness could be like a shift in consciousness frequency.
Exactly. Imagine a radio. If you tune it to a specific frequency, you get a clear signal.
Right.
But if you move the dial even slightly,
Yeah.
the signal gets distorted and you might hear static or interference.
So someone experiencing psychosis with delusions and hallucinations, their consciousness might be tuned to a different frequency,
It's possible.
and they're picking up signals that most people don't.
That's one way to think about it.
Okay.
And on the other end of the spectrum, someone we might consider a genius.
With exceptional creativity or insight.
Exactly. Their consciousness might be really good at accessing information from that quantum vacuum
Okay.
and translating those insights into groundbreaking ideas.
So both extreme psychosis and genius
Right?
could be linked to how our consciousness interacts with that deeper level of reality.
It really highlights how the black hole principle challenges us to reconsider those labels and categories
Yeah.
that we use to define and limit human experience.
This is incredible.
It is.
But what about those ancient systems of energy, like chakras?
Yeah.
How do they fit into this whole black hole universe?
Chakras, they're fascinating.
I know
It's
them.
like this example of where ancient wisdom and modern science might be converging.
Okay.
They're described as these energy centers within the body,
Right.
each associated with specific physical and emotional states.
But they can't be seen or measured with, traditional scientific instruments, right?
That's the challenge.
So how can we even talk about them scientifically?
It's why chakras have often been dismissed as pseudoscience.
Right.
But if we consider the black hole principle,
Okay.
with this concept of black holes operating at every scale,
Yeah.
then perhaps chakras are black holes
Fine.
operating within the human body,
Ooh.
influencing our energy flow and consciousness.
So just like black holes in space emit energy and shape the galaxies around them, maybe chakras are shaping our internal landscape.
That's the idea.
That's amazing. But if the universe is this fractal of black holes, constantly creating and destroying, where does that leave us? What does it mean for our sense of self, our purpose, our place in the cosmos?
That's what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
Right.
The black hole principle offers a new way of understanding ourselves and our relationship to the universe.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of all things, the continuous process of creation and transformation,
Right.
and the potential for personal growth and evolution.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah, we have.
Black holes as creators, non-locality, even chakras as these energy centers.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. So now, for this last part, let's really dive into what does it actually mean to live in a black hole universe?
All right, let's do it.
I'm ready for my mind to be blown wide open.
Okay, well, one of the biggest things the black hole principle makes us question is it makes us question some of our most basic assumptions about reality,
Okay, like what?
especially when it comes to our perception of time.
Time. You mean like time flies when you're having fun kind of thing?
No, I'm talking deeper than that.
Okay.
We experience time as this linear thing,
Right.
a straight line from past to present to future. But what if that's just a very limited perspective?
Wait, are you saying time doesn't exist? That everything's happening all at once?
It's not that time doesn't exist. It's more that our perception of it might be incomplete.
Okay.
Think about a movie reel.
All right.
Each frame is like a snapshot in time, right?
Yeah.
But the reel itself, it contains the entire story.
Okay.
So similarly, our lives, they unfold moment by moment.
Right.
But the black hole principle suggests that all those moments, all possibilities, they might exist simultaneously within this greater reality.
Okay, I'm trying to picture this. So it's like we're experiencing these individual frames of a movie,
Yeah.
but the entire film already exists.
Exactly. And if that's true,
Yeah.
it really challenges our whole idea of free will.
Oh, wow.
You know, if the future already exists in some sense, do we really have choices?
That is a huge question.
It is.
So what does the black hole principle say about free will? Are we just along for the ride? Or do our choices actually matter?
Well, that's the really interesting part. The black hole principle suggests that consciousness, it's not just passively observing reality, it's actively participating in its creation.
So we're not just watching the movie, we're helping to write the script.
You got it. At the very edge of what we can perceive, light is constantly transforming into matter and antimatter.
Right.
This dance of creation and destruction.
Okay.
And our choices, our intentions, they might actually influence which possibilities manifest in our experience.
So our thoughts, our actions, even our emotions, they're all feeding back into the universe
Exactly.
and shaping what happens next.
That's the idea.
Wow, that's empowering.
It is, but it also comes with a sense of responsibility.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If we're all interconnected, then our actions have consequences, like ripple effects that go way beyond just ourselves.
For sure.
Okay, but there's one thing I still don't get. If the laws of physics say time can go forward or backward, why do we only experience it moving forward? Why do we age but never get younger?
That's a great question. And the black hole principle, with its concept of matter and antimatter constantly cycling into existence, it offers a possible explanation.
Okay. I'm listening.
Imagine antimatter, which exists just beyond our perception. It's associated with a kind of negative time.
Negative time.
Yeah, it's like a counterbalance, a force that ensures that time as we experience it flows in one direction.
So antimatter is like the rewind button the universe never presses.
Yeah, but it's still there, influencing things behind the scenes.
That is mind-boggling.
It is, and it shows how something that seems so strange and abstract could actually be essential to our everyday experience of reality.
This has been an amazing journey. I feel like we've gone from cutting-edge science to ancient wisdom and back again.
We have.
I have a whole new way of looking at the universe now, and my place in it.
That's what it's all about.
It is. So to wrap things up,
Yeah.
the black hole principle really opens up so many new ways of understanding ourselves and the world around us.
It does.
And it leaves us with some pretty big questions to ponder.
Definitely.
If the universe is constantly creating itself,
Yeah.
and we're active participants in that process,
Mm-hmm.
what does that mean for our understanding of free will, our potential to shape the future?
It's a whole new way of looking at things.
It is. Huge thanks to everyone for joining us on this deep dive into the black hole principle. We've covered a lot, but there's always more to explore. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep your mind open to all the amazing possibilities out there.